Special Forces. In the midst of the battle of the enormous World War I, 15 million people were eradicated when the major divisions of the Central Powers fought against the Alliance. The Central Powers consisted of the German Empire, Austro-Hungarian Empire, Ottoman Empire, and the Kingdom of Bulgaria. Likewise, the Alliance was made up of the UK, Russian Empire, France, Belgium, Serbia, Italy, Japan, Greece, Romania, and Portugal. The Navy's role was to lay a massive minefield in the North Sea, as well as being responsible for transporting convoys and troops. They also made history during the war by becoming the first branch of the U.S. Armed Forces to allow enlistment by women in a non-nursing way. Just as quickly as the war ended, nations began to rebuild their navies rapidly in preparation for the next war. The 1920s saw the development of light cruisers and aircraft carriers, the first of which, named the U.S. Langley, was commissioned in 1922. Aircraft carriers serve as warships with the primary mission of deploying and recovering aircraft, or acting as a sea airbase. They allow naval forces to protect air power and actually evolved from wooden vessels used to deploy booms into nuclear-powered ships which carry dozens of fixed and rotary wing aircraft. Furthermore, another class of ship emerged called the battleship. As an armored large warship with heavy caliber guns, they were primarily used to control the seas. However, with improved air support and guided missiles nowadays, battleships are fairly obsolete considering none are in active service currently. On the remembered fateful day of December 7, 1941, an intense Japan attack on Pearl Harbor caught the U.S. Navy by surprise and left the nation in profound shock by driving 353 kamikaze planes into the U.S.'s ships. The military was unprepared and off balance, and so the attack was fairly destructive. They were also involved in lesser-known but disastrous battles like the Battle of Savo Island, Battle of the Santa Cruz Islands, and Battle of Cape Esperance. By the end of the war, the United States Navy had over 1,600 warships, compared to the dwindling few they consisted of beforehand. This prepared America for the impending war in Europe and Northern Asia. The Cold War was an unusual form of war and was when primarily the United States and Russia experienced political conflict, military tension, proxy wars, and economic competition. The proxy wars is the term which describes using or forcing other countries to fight one's enemy. Such often occurred because the superpowers, the US and the Soviet Union, both had nuclear weapons and wished not to risk escalation to a nuclear war. Yet, the United States still sent fleets stationed strategically around the world, where aircraft carriers launched thousands of airstrikes while small gunboats patrolled the rivers. Also, in 1950, nuclear power for ships was developed, as were missiles and jets. But by 1978, the fleet had dwindled to 217 surface ships and 119 submarines, and because of the shortage, President Reagan set a goal for a 600-ship navy. By 1988, it had risen to 588 ships. Today, the United States Navy dominates most, if not all, of the world's oceans and works hand in hand with the Coast Guard and Marine Corps. Their secure and strong naval power is demonstrated by their 11 aircraft supercarriers, the largest warships ever built. Supercarriers are also the biggest type of aircraft carrier, usually weighing over 70,000 tons. In fact, other countries' carriers are only 20,000 to 40,000 tons. Although supercarriers are often considered more cost-effective, smaller carriers have been suggested because of its vulnerability. Recently, the Navy has also been influenced to develop new ships like the Zumwalt class destroyer and the LCS, or Littoral Combat Ship, for new, unique threats. These ships and vessels that came before them have guarded and risked their lives for the people of America throughout the ages, and plan to continue serving until their obligation is no longer necessary. We owe our deepest gratitude to these men and women, for without them we would cease to be.